Usually, when a nation qualifies for the World Cup, the images are pretty universally recognizable, right?
Yeah, like parades in the capital city, absolute euphoria.
Exactly. Packed stadiums just vibrating with noise. But, you know, to really grasp what we're looking at today, we need to start with a deeply jarring contrast.
Right.
Let's rewind the clock to 1974.
That was a rough year.
Yeah, it was Haiti's only other World Cup appearance, and it ended in this very dark, heavily scrutinized chapter.
Really heavily scrutinized.
I mean, they lost all 3 of their games, conceded 14 goals, and in an event that honestly sounds like it was pulled from some Cold War espionage thriller.
Oh, the Ernst John Joseph story.
Yes. One of their players, Ernst John Joseph, he failed a drug test and was forcibly abducted from the team hotel.
Wow.
Yeah, abducted and returned home by the regime's secret police.
And that left a really heavy, lingering shadow. Like, for over half a century, that singular troubled tournament was pretty much the defining image of Haitian football on the global stage.
Right.
It was a legacy just defined by, political baggage, oppression, and ultimate sporting failure.
But fast forward to 2026, and their return is without a doubt the ultimate underdog fairy tale of this entire tournament.
Oh, completely.
So welcome to today's deep dive. We are exploring a really fascinating stack of sports analyses, tactical breakdowns, and historical profiles to understand the incredible story of the Haiti national football team.
Known to their fans as Les Grenadiers.
Right, Les Grenadiers.
Here.
Our mission for you today is to unpack their miraculous qualification, get to know their star players, and really break down their tactical battle plan against those Group C titans.
Which is a brutal group. Brazil, Morocco, and Scotland.
It's massive.
Yeah.
But, setting the stage for this achievement requires acknowledging some pretty extraordinary and incredibly difficult circumstances.
Yeah, we have to talk about the context. Haiti has qualified for this World Cup while the nation is facing a severe humanitarian crisis. We are talking about widespread destitution, severe political instability, and an environment where, frankly, armed gangs actively control major sectors of the country.
And just to be absolutely clear with you listening, we are solely conveying the context surrounding this team.
Right?
We're remaining strictly impartial about the complex geopolitical situation on the ground, just reporting what the sources state.
Exactly. We're just providing the background.
But we absolutely must mention it because, well, to understand how Les Grenadiers will play in this tournament, you first have to understand how they were built.
Yeah, and that's the craziest part.
Because of that severe security crisis, this team did not play a single qualifying match on home soil.
Not one.
Not a single one.
The logistical and emotional hurdles of that are just staggering. I mean, they were forced to play all their designated home games 500 miles away.
In Curacao? Right?
Yeah, in Curacao.
Yeah.
And despite being completely exiled from their fans, their home stadiums, their native country, they still topped their third-round qualifying group.
It's unbelievable.
They systematically dismantled strong regional teams. They beat Costa Rica and Nicaragua to earn their place here.
And the architect behind this exiled campaign is a story all on his own.
Oh, Sébastien Mignet.
Yeah, Sébastien Mignet, the French head coach who took over the squad in early 2024. And the most astonishing reality of his tenure is that he has never actually set foot in Haiti.
Never. Not once.
The security situation is simply too volatile, and commercial international flights into the capital they've essentially ground to a halt. So he manages the national team entirely from abroad.
It is an unprecedented managerial challenge. I mean, he has had to construct a national team identity basically from a laptop in Europe.
Think about the mechanics of that for a second. It's essentially like trying to build a high-stakes billion-dollar tech startup entirely remotely.
That's a great way to put it.
You've got employees who have never met each other in a main office. Your CEO has never visited the actual headquarters. You're recruiting talent from all over the globe, communicating over Zoom and WhatsApp, trying to build cohesive culture without any of those natural water cooler moments that build trust.
And the weight of an entire nation's pride rests on your shoulder.
Exactly. So how does a coach manufacture team chemistry when you have zero shared physical space?
Well, he solved that problem by fundamentally changing the profile of the team.
What do you mean?
Historically, smaller nations rely on the organic, somewhat chaotic passion of domestic-based players, right? Guys who train, need each other, and understand the local style.
Sure.
Mignet couldn't do that. Instead, he scoured European leagues for dual nationals.
Okay.
Players of Haitian descent operating in France, Belgium, England, and the Netherlands. He essentially replaced raw, localized emotion with European academy-trained tactical discipline.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he shifted their identity to a modern, vertical, transition-based style football. It became less about building chemistry through shared geography and entirely about building it through a shared tactical language.
So, like, if everyone understands the same pressing triggers and the same passing lanes, the geography ceases to matter.
Exactly.
Okay, so if Meunier is the remote CEO, let's look at the actual employees he recruited for this massive undertaking. Start at the back with their defensive anchor.
Johnny Placide.
Right. The 38-year-old captain and goalkeeper, he plays for SC Bastia in France. And there is no denying he is the emotional leader of this squad. But I have to push back on this strategy a bit.
Okay, let's hear it.
If I'm a fan watching this, I'm terrified. Is it not a massive, glaring liability to rest your entire World Cup defensive strategy on a 38-year-old goalie who is just returning from major knee surgery?
It's definitely a risk.
Especially when he is guaranteed to face an absolute avalanche of shots from world-class attackers. I mean, come on.
Well, look, it is a significant liability, physically speaking. His lateral agility and pure shot-stopping reflexes are undeniably compromised compared to, say, a 25-year-old keeper. If he's forced into a string of diving saves against elite forwards, Haiti is in real trouble. But you have to look at why he is starting.
Which is?
Against world-class opposition, a goalkeeper's voice is often far more vital than his hands.
Really?
Yeah. Placide organizes the defensive line. He constantly shifts his center backs to close down passing lanes before the shot is even taken. He brings the psychological composure to the penalty area that you simply cannot teach a younger, more athletic backup.
So Meunier is actively treating peak physical reflexes for peak mental resilience.
And defensive organization.
Exactly. So it's about preventing the fire from starting rather than being the fastest guy with a hose.
That's spot on, yes.
Okay, so moving from the penalty box into the center of the pitch, Meunier brought in some serious athletic muscle to balance out that aging backline.
Oh, you're talking about Jean-Luc Bellegarde.
I am.
Yeah.
He plays for Wolverhampton Wanderers in the incredibly physical English Premier League, and he recently switched his international allegiance from France to Haiti.
It was a massive coup for them.
Huge. And looking at his metrics since joining the squad, his impact isn't just an upgrade, it's entirely transformational.
Well, what Bellegarde provides is elite-level midfield processing speed. Like in the Premier League, you have to be able to read the game, win the ball, and distribute it in fractions of a second.
Right.
And Bellegarde serves this vital dual threat role. First, he's a defensive destroyer. His job is to violently disrupt the opponent's rhythm and win the ball back in the middle third.
But crucially, the moment he wins it, he doesn't just panic and clear it blindly into the stand.
No, exactly. He has the technical vision to instantly look up and launch those vertical transitions we mentioned earlier. He can split the opponent's defense with a single 40-yard pass.
And when he launches those passes, he is aiming for a player whose journey to this tournament is, frankly, almost unfathomable.
Dakins Saison.
Dakins Saison. He is Haiti's all-time leading scorer with 44 goals. But his presence on this roster goes far beyond his finishing ability.
His escape from the Iranian border is one of the most compelling narratives of modern sports.
It's unbelievable. So Nazan was playing club football in Iran for Esteghlal FC.
Right.
And right as severe military escalations were breaking out in the region, he had to flee. We are talking about a professional athlete seeing bombs dropping just 100 meters away from him.
Terrifying.
He attempts to get out, gets physically stuck at the border for 48 hours, is refused entry, and literally has to sleep on the ground at the border crossing.
Wow.
The only reason he managed to escape through Azerbaijan was because the French embassy intervened and because he had the foresight to buy an eSIM right before the local internet grid was shut down.
Think about how that translates to the pitch, though.
Right.
Mason isn't just a striker. He is a physical, explosive focal point for this team who has survived unimaginable stress.
Yeah.
Having a player with that kind of lived resilience leading your front line provides an incredible, intangible psychological edge.
I mean, when you have slept at a border crossing in an active war zone, the pressure of a World Cup group stage match probably feels significantly less intimidating.
Exactly. Being a goal down against a European team, not a big deal. It recalibrates the entire team's perspective on pressure.
He also isn't running up there alone, though. Meunier has surrounded him with some incredibly promising young talent,
Yeah, you've got Wilson Isidore.
right? The 25-year-old forward playing for Sunderland in England. And Haitian fans actually executed a massive social media campaign lobbying him to switch his allegiance.
Which is wild that it worked.
It did work.
Yeah.
And he rewarded them by scoring on his debut against Iceland.
Amazing. And then you have Ruben Providence, right? The 24-year-old winger playing for Almere City in the Netherlands. He's widely flagged as the potential breakout star of the tournament.
He's fearless.
Fearless, incredibly quick, and just devastating in one-on-one situations.
So Isidore and Providence are the mechanical keys to Meunier's entire system.
Yeah, because if you want to play transition-based football, you cannot rely on slow build-up play. You need players who are lethal in isolated one-on-one sprints against retreating defenders.
So Providence hugs the sideline, providing necessary width and crossing ability, which stretches the opposing defense.
And that stretching creates internal gaps for Isidore, who offers dynamic, darting movement inside the penalty box.
Okay, let's zoom out and look at the geometry of this.
Mm-hmm.
We know the profiles of the players, but how does Meunier physically deploy them to win football matches?
Well, against weaker or evenly matched teams, Meunier sets up in an adventurous 4-2-3-1 formation.
Okay.
And the entire engine of this formation relies on the fullbacks, specifically Carlens Arcus and Hansel Croy. Meunier asks them to push incredibly high up the pitch. They're essentially playing like extra wingers.
But why do that? Doesn't that just exhaust your defenders?
It does, yeah. But it creates something called a numerical overload. By pushing the fullbacks high, Haiti suddenly has more attacking players in the opponent's half than the opponent has defenders. It forces the opposing wingers to drop deep to help out, which pins the other team back. And when this works, it results in devastatingly fast breaks.
Like that recent pre-tournament friendly where they thrashed New Zealand 4-0.
Exactly. Every single goal came from a rapid, direct transition. They would use a physical target man, like France de Pirot, to hold up the ball with his back to the goal just long enough for those fullbacks and wingers to bomb forward into the open space.
I look at that tactical setup, and it reminds me of boxer with a glass jaw, but a devastating right hook.
That is a great analogy.
Because if Haiti can land their counterattack early, if they connect with that right hook, they will knock you out. But if they get pressed into a corner, their defense is incredibly fragile.
Right.
If those fullbacks get caught too high up the pitch when they lose the ball, there are massive tracts of empty grass behind them. The center backs are left completely stranded.
And we saw that exact vulnerability exposed during the qualifier.
The 5-1 loss to Curaçao.
Yeah, a really humbling 5-1 loss. Leaving your center backs exposed to a counterattack is the ultimate glass jaw in modern football.
So how does Meunier try to protect it?
He relies on the unsung hero of this entire squad, Stanley Jean-Jacques.
Right. He plays domestically here in the U.S. for the Philadelphia Union.
Yeah, and he's the guy tasked with doing all the invisible dirty work.
Right.
Precisely. Jean-Jacques is a tireless holding midfielder. While Bellegarde is given the freedom to push forward and launch attacks, Jean-Jacques stays rigidly disciplined.
He's like a human shield.
That's his primary function. He sweeps up messes, breaks up developing counterattacks, and maintains a protective screen right in front of those exposed center backs.
So if Jean-Jacques misses a tackle or loses his positional discipline, that glass jaw gets shattered immediately.
Immediately, it all falls apart.
So keeping that delicate balance of the glass jaw and the right hook in mind, let's look at the brutal reality of the Group C battle plan. Because Les Grenadiers aren't playing New Zealand anymore.
No, they are staring down Scotland, Brazil, and Morocco.
And this is exactly where Meunier has to adapt. The data strongly suggests that against this elite level of competition, Haiti will completely abandon that adventurous 4-2-3-1.
They have to. They simply cannot afford to leave empty space against teams of this caliber. Instead, they will shift to a highly pragmatic, deeply entrenched 4-4-2.
Okay, let's break down the matches. Match 1 is against Scotland in Boston. Everything in the sources points to this being the absolute, non-negotiable, must-win game for Haiti.
Oh, absolutely.
But why Scotland? Why is this specific game the target?
It comes down to a clash of styles. Scotland is a physically robust, hard-tackling team. They rely heavily on box-to-box runners like Scott McTominay, who thrive in open, physical games.
Okay.
However, historically, Scotland struggles significantly to break down what we call a low block.
What's a low block for the listeners?
It's when a team sets up two tight banks of 4 players deep in their own penalty area and simply invites the opponent to attack. To beat it, you need intricate, tight-space playmakers to pick that lock.
And Scotland lacks those specific creative profiles.
Exactly.
Right.
So Haiti's strategy is clear. Set up that deep 4-4-2, absorb the physical battering, deny Scotland any space in the middle, and just wait for them to grow frustrated.
So the moment Scotland overcommits players forward, trying to force a goal, Haiti will try to land that right hook.
Yep. Releasing Isidore and Providence into the empty space on the counterattack.
Okay, that makes complete tactical sense.
Yeah.
But then we move to match 2 against Brazil and Philadelphia. And honestly, the strategy here seems deeply cynical.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, you're facing arguably the most potent attacking force in the world.
Well, the analytics give Brazil a 73% probability of winning the entire group. Against a team with that much firepower, Meunier's strategy is purely about damage limitation.
But that's a brutal mentality to sell to a locker room, isn't it? You're basically asking a team of incredibly proud professionals to go out onto a World Cup stage and essentially accept a loss.
It sounds bad, I know.
How does a remote manager enforce that kind of passive discipline when a player's natural instinct is to try and score, to try and be the hero?
He enforces it through cold, hard tournament mathematics. The objective in this specific game isn't to secure a miraculous win, it's to protect their overall goal differential. Because in a group stage, getting blown out 5-0 by Brazil could mathematically eliminate you from advancing even if you secure points in your other games.
Right, because of the tiebreakers.
Exactly. So Meunier will task his 36-year-old veteran center back, Ricardo Ade, with one job.
Command the penalty box?
Command the box, marshal the defense, and prevent a heavy multi-goal defeat. If they lose 1-0 or 2-0, that is considered a massive strategic victory for Haiti.
Wow. It's really fascinating how much of tournament progression relies on managing your losses rather than just chasing wins.
Very true.
Which brings us to match 3 against Morocco in Atlanta. Now, Morocco were the darlings of the 2022 World Cup, making it all the way to the semifinals.
They were amazing.
They have superstar players like Achraf Hakimi. But wait, I have a question about this matchup. Morocco just lost their long-serving manager, Walid Regragui, and they are coming off some major internal controversy at the recent AFCON tournament.
Yes, there's been some chaos.
So, if there is chaos and instability inside the Moroccan camp, why is everyone so insistent that the Scotland game is Haiti's only path? Couldn't Meunier target a vulnerable, distracted Morocco?
It's a very logical assumption to make. You always want to play a team when they are going through an internal crisis. But you have to look past the headlines and examine the underlying defensive metrics.
Okay.
Because despite the managerial change and the off-field AFCON drama, Morocco's defensive structure on the pitch remains incredibly elite. They have kept 6 clean sheets in their last 9 international games.
Oh, wow. So the chaos hasn't actually affected their defending at all.
Not at all. Furthermore, Morocco utilizes a relentless high-pressing system that will severely test the Bellegarde and Jean-Jacques pivot in Haiti's midfield.
Right.
They won't give Bellegarde the time to look up and hit those long passes. And even if he does, Morocco's defensive recovery speed is terrifying.
Especially with Hakimi.
Exactly. When you have a player like Achraf Hakimi, who is literally one of the fastest fullbacks on the planet, he completely neutralizes Haiti's biggest weapon.
The isolation sprint.
Yeah. Hakimi can simply run down Providence or Isidore. That is why Morocco is simply too tough a nut to crack for a team relying on counterattacks, and why Scotland remains the only mathematically viable target for a full 3 points.
It is incredible how these tactical matchups dictate the entire narrative of a tournament before a ball is even kicked.
It really is.
Let's summarize the gravity of this journey for you listening. You have Les Grenadiers, a team composed entirely of the diaspora, managed over WhatsApp and Zoom by a coach who physically cannot enter the country he represents.
Yeah.
They are bringing Premier League muscle, cinematic stories of wartime survival, and explosive speed to the world's biggest stage, all in an attempt to bring a sliver of joy to a nation facing a generational crisis.
It is undeniably a profound story of human and sporting resilience. But, removing the emotion for a second, there is a very stark reality here.
Yeah.
The odds makers give them 3,000 to 1 odds to win the tournament. They have a microscopic 1% chance of actually winning Group C.
But, and this is the cliffhanger that makes this specific tournament so compelling, they don't actually need to win Group C.
No, they don't.
Because of the newly expanded 48-team World Cup format, the math has completely changed. It's no longer just the top 2 teams from each group advancing. The 8 best third-place teams across all the groups also advance to the knockout stages.
That structural change alters the entire strategic landscape for a team like Haiti.
Exactly. If you are a Haitian fan, you realize your team does not need to beat Brazil. They don't even need to secure a point against Morocco.
Right.
A single, gritty defensive masterclass that results in a 1-0 counterattacking win against Scotland, combined with strictly protecting their goal differential against the other two giants that could literally sneak them into the World Cup knockout stages for the very first time in their nation's history.
It is the ultimate backdoor to glory.
It really is.
It will demand absolute, unwavering tactical discipline over 270 minutes of football, but the math says it is entirely possible.
Which leaves you with a final thought to mull over today as we wrap up this deep dive. We talk so much about home advantage in sports.
We do.
Usually we define it as sleeping in your own bed, having your own dressing room, and hearing your own fans chanting your name in a stadium you know intimately.
Right.
But what does home advantage actually mean in the era of modern global sports? Can a team, completely exiled from its own borders, playing in United States stadiums packed with deeply emotional, displaced diaspora, actually harness the energy of a fractured nation?
That's a great question.
Back in 1974, this team carried the dark baggage of a regime's secret police. In 2026, they carry the complicated, fragile hope of millions.
Yeah.
The real question is, can they use that invisible weight to pull off the greatest tactical shock in World Cup history? I guess we'll have to watch to find out.